Just starting off with a big fat, competitive gaming. Competitive gaming. Fuck off. Competitive gaming ruined casual games. At least for me, and at least kinda. It all started about a decade ago. I was gifted a laptop for my birthday. It wasn't the gaming powerhouse I had hoped for it to be, but it was, you know, a little HP shitbook, and it had an integrated graphics processor. And I was still certainly grateful for that, because I had wanted something to play PC games on for the longest time at that point. Now the only thing stopping me was the monetary investment it took me to be able to buy games in the first place. I was about 13 or 14, and I hadn't convinced my parents to allow me an allowance. A foreign concept to some people entirely and definitely unheard of for my family. So this being the case, I was attracted to free games, and I also learned how to sail the 7 seas. But the free games I had access to right off the bat were, for example, Team Fortress 2 and Super Monday Night Combat. May it rest in peace, God bless its soul. And while I had a ton of fun in TF2, and I was still able to purchase a couple games every once in a while with some, you know, scraped together pocket change and birthday money, and, you know, for my birthdays and Christmas I did get, you know, games, but I'm a Sagittarius, so my birthday is like right on top of Christmas, so it's like I ain't getting video games for 8 months out of the year unless I'm begging my mom for a $9 Blockbuster used game. But at least, you know, TF2 and Super Monday Night Combat being games that I got a lot of experience in right off the bat, that changed. That changed when I met a specific person. I had made a new friend at school, and we were pretty good buddies, yet alas, we were not destined to be lifelong friends. However, something they told me has left a lifelong impact. Hey, have you heard about a game called League of Legends? Oh no, I can't afford to buy any new games. It's free! There's the thumbnail. As soon as I had the chance, I downloaded this thing onto my computer, and from my very first match, I was hooked. I can remember the game being so different from how it is now. I started playing around the time Zed was released, which was on November 13th, 2020. I look up like I'm like, what was it? And it's like, no, I'm reading the fucking script. November 13th, 2012. But I still have Vi's login page fresh in my mind. She's like a boomerang who never gives out. She flies in circles till she hits you in your body. I don't think that's right. Whew, buddy, I still think about that lady to this day. A strong woman, and she was bouncing all over the place, and boy howdy was she bouncing. Sheesh. Anyways, League had such a cool appeal. It was dripping with style in all these different aspects. The characters were cool. The developers were cool. The universe still is kind of cool, even given the retcons. And the point to this video, the competitive scene, especially around that time in particular, was so fucking cool. LCS probably gave a bunch of young idiots like myself delusions of grandeur. We saw someone like Faker and thought, damn, he gets paid money to play video games? I've got to do that too. The only issue with that was Faker's a god and I'm not. Faker was contractually obligated to practice League of Legends for at least 8 hours a day, and my dumbass is lucky to crack 4 or 5 hours, and I certainly wasn't honing my mechanical skill or game knowledge like Faker was. And for years, I battled back and forth in the ranking system, trying my best to crawl up to the tippy top of the ranks and be recognized as the gamer god I truly am. Only problem with that is I never cracked fucking silver. In fact, the closest I ever got was at the end of the 2017 season. The Victorious skin was for Graves. And if you don't know what a Victorious skin is, simply put, if you can make it into the gold division and be there at the end of the season, you will be rewarded with a free season unique skin. And I got so fucking close. I got to my silver 1 promotions the day before the end of the season. Literally, it's like no joke. I got matched with a duo queue, and it was a Nivea Tom Kench like troll duo. The Kench was throwing myself and the rest of my team under the enemy turrets, just into enemies whenever they had the chance, and the Nivea was waiting until you were like this close to escaping, like sure death, and then making sure you died. And they were also waiting until you were like this close to backing, and it's like ice wall, fuck you. That was the final straw with me and League of Legends. I just stopped playing to win and would only ever play for fun. But that's just what I said. Even to this day, I struggle to enjoy an ARAM if I don't win, which is kind of embarrassing, but it sort of shows my mindset at least a little bit. And if I wasn't playing against actual humans and winning, I was just not having the most fun I guess I could be having in a video game. This leads me to my other game, Counter-Strike Global Offensive, and I genuinely have to thank this game for some of the best years of my life. Not while playing the game, mind you. I met my roommates in a competitive match, and becoming friends and playing together for months and months and months, eventually one of us said, hey, we should all move in together and we should go to Seattle because the minimum wage is pretty high there. And so we did, and it was 4 young men living together in a 2-bedroom apartment. Shit was fucking cash. The game itself was pretty fun, but unlike Counter-Strike Source, rather than most of my game time coming from Jailbreak or Surf servers, almost all 641s of my, I swear that number was higher by the way, 641 hours of CSGO were spent in competitive. It's like, as soon as I got up to the rank, I was playing only competitive. Unlike League of Legends, the major benefit to CSGO was even if you had a couple of real stinkers on your team, if you were a true gamer, you could carry and still end up winning, and this led me to enjoy the game more often than League of Legends, but also led to deeper pits of despair, because if I lost, I could only blame so much on my team, and I knew if I were just a little bit better, I could have won the match for my team. So I had these 2 major influences over the past decade that heavily instilled the mentality if I wasn't playing against an actual human player, and if I wasn't winning, I was simply having a bad time. And the older I get, the more I think it stems from some sort of FOMO or fear of missing out. And I can totally acknowledge that part of my taste in games stems from the people I surround myself with. But I also have a lot of downtime, especially when it comes to gaming. And as soon as my friends sign out of Discord for the night, I don't really have the motivation to just, play anything and have a good time anymore. I'm stuck in the grind. Right now, the boys and I are mostly playing PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds, relatively casually, but it still gets pretty heated in the top 10s and whenever that circle comes closing in, and I have a specific friend who is helping me learn Street Fighter, so my tastes are certainly headed towards even more competitive stuff even now. But for an example, I'm subscribed to Humble Choice, and it's a monthly program that for $13 you get around 8 free games. Well, for the price of $13. Only like 2 or 3 of them are actually good, like wow, I'm gonna be playing that. And those 2 or 3 games can actually justify that $13 price tag, straight up. But usually the rest of those are indie titles, and I'm not trying to disparage against them, but they're just not my type of games, flat out. I redeemed an almost 7-month backlog of games, and I saw a lot of good stuff and a decent amount of stuff. And I'll probably not touch any of them for quite some time. I just keep buying games while they're on sale or in a Humble bundle, and I tell myself I'll get to them. I just put them in my backlog. To name a couple, I have both Prototype 1 and 2, Resident Evil 7 and Village, God of War, the whole Max Payne series, the whole Fear series, Kingdom Come Deliverance, Doom Eternal, and Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, just to name a few. These are all games in my Steam library with 0 hours on them. I've installed a couple of them, haven't touched any of them. And don't get me started on my retro collection. Over the past 2 years, I've obtained hundreds of games for each the PS2 and the Xbox, the original one, for the purpose of doing my Game Graveyard series. Patent pending, you can't steal that. It's mine. It's all mine. I've even spent $300 on a RetroTank 5X Pro to be able to upscale and sharpen these for modern HD TVs and 1080p minimum recordings. And I've got the next game ready to start recording. All I have to do is sit down and play the goddamn thing. But every night, instead of saying, alright, I'm gonna pick up the controller and hit record, I just sit there and I watch Vinland Saga or Golden Kamuy and I stuff my face with fucking popcorn. The blame isn't entirely on competitive games though. Although I don't want to shoulder the entirety of the blame myself, I feel a small discussion can be had about the obsession with trying to make the next big esport. Street Fighter and PUBG are in that list, but as is Fortnite, Apex Legends, Super Smash Bros., Call of Duty, Valorant, Hearthstone, Rocket League, Overwatch, StarCraft, Rainbow Six Siege, and even World of Tanks and Clash of Clans, for God's sakes. Can you believe that the Clash Royale fucking Pro League has given out a $1 million cash prize and a $400,000 cash prize? Clash fucking Royale. That's crazy. So, while yeah, I need to grow up and start trying to have as much fun as possible with a variety of video games that aren't competitive, I can certainly attempt to blame the hard-on for esports that I myself even had for a while on a couple of different companies and communities. And I don't know if I haven't been paying enough attention, but aside from some of the really big games that are still standing even after a decade, I think this whole esports phase of gaming history is beginning to come to a close. Nature begins to heal, and the gamer shall rise again from the ashes. Yeah, it's like, I don't feel like I had enough to say about this, but, I don't really want to spend any more time than I did on this. I've had to record this 30 times now, partially because I'm a dumbass, and partially because I had to rewrite the entire script. I was trying too hard to imitate several different YouTubers, which I'm just not that type of person. And I'm still not entirely too sure of who I want to be. But I hope you at least got a little entertainment out of this, and perhaps we can start a fun discussion about this. Thanks again for sticking around, and remember, you gotta shine, to thine own self be true, they can't tell you what to do once you've gone guru, Sengoku in the new age. Fuck yourself. Friends. However, something told me, shit. Cut that part out. We're gonna restart that line.
Congratulations.